Welcome back to the fourth episode in this mini-series, and thanks for tagging along during the past few weeks. I hope you're feeling better about where to start and what you need and how to structure your video-based podcast to grow your business. Today, we're diving into one of the most crucial aspects of podcasting, setting up your recording environment. Whether you're recording solo, hosting interviews, or bringing guests into your physical space, the way you prepare can make or break the quality of your podcast. Preparation is everything when it comes to delivering high-quality audio and video. It not only ensures that your content looks and sounds professional, but it also helps you feel more confident and more comfortable behind the mic or in front of the camera. So let's make sure you've got everything in place to create a polished and engaging podcast that resonates with your audience. Let's kick things off with the essentials, what equipment you'll need, and how to set it up properly. Let's start with the most critical piece, your microphone. A microphone is absolutely non-negotiable these days. Your laptop or phone mic just won't cut it. You need professional equipment for your professional podcast. A dedicated microphone that captures your voice clearly and crisply is a must-have. I know that you see my lapel mic. These are a great option. There's also just the simplicity of having a microphone that comes with a simple stand. It's got one on and off switch, and it plugs straight into your computer with USB. If you get a microphone with more controls, read the instructions and talk to your editor so that these settings are best suited for your environment. When speaking, your microphone should be about 3 inches from your mouth. This makes sure that it picks up your voice clearly and it's far enough away to reduce breath noise. And of course, a mic stand or even an arm that holds it off to the side is wonderful. It's going to be your best friend. And that just makes sure that you don't have a lot of handling noise or that you don't bump it as you're speaking. Next, let's talk about headphones. These are a must-have if you're conducting online interviews. Headphones create a closed loop of sound between you and your guest, meaning that the audio stays between your ears and the mic, preventing something we call mic bleed. Mic bleed happens when your microphone picks up the sound coming from your speakers out loud, which creates audio issues and it degrades the quality of your recording. So as we're talking about quality of recordings, we do not accept Zoom recordings from our clients. I require that you have and use a platform that is specifically designed for high quality productions. I recommend Riverside or Squadcast or something similar. These platforms are built to provide higher quality recordings, giving you a more professional edge. With your microphone and headphones and recording platform all set up, you're well on your way to capturing great content. But the setup doesn't stop there. How you record in different scenarios, whether solo or with guests or online or in person, is just as crucial. All right, so now that you've got your essential gear in place, let's talk about recording techniques that depend on your setup. So whether you're recording in person or online, we just touched on the software I recommend. So no Zoom, Riverside, Squadcast, or something similar. And then you just need a good camera, and I'll share a few tips on that in a moment about how to position yourself so that you feel confident behind the camera. For People who want to record in person in the same room as your guest, good news, headphones are not necessary. But don't relax just yet because microphone and camera positioning become absolutely crucial. You want to make sure your microphones are positioned to capture clear audio from everyone involved with one microphone per person. Ideally, each mic should again be about 3 inches from each speaker's mouth, angled slightly to avoid picking up too much breath noise. Notice how my voice can go toward this microphone, but that it's not straight on so that I wouldn't breathe into it. You also want to check your placement of cords because if they cross, sometimes that can cause electronic interference. Now let's talk about cameras. Whether you're recording solo or conducting an interview, how you position your camera can make all the difference. For solo recordings, a good rule of thumb is to keep your mouth in the center of the frame, allowing for proper headroom. This creates a balanced and professional look. While full body shots are trending lately, studies actually show that viewers prefer a more cropped in frame where they can see your face and expressions very clearly. But ultimately, you should choose what feels right for you and your audience. For in person interviews, I recommend using a 3-camera setup. One camera should capture both speakers in a wide shot, giving context and a sense of the conversation. The other 2 cameras are going to sit in a crisscross appearing pattern where each one can focus directly on one of the participants. This is effective in conveying emotion and engagement per speaker. With your microphones and cameras positioned just right, now you're almost ready to hit record. But before you do, there's another crucial aspect to consider: your lighting and your environment. No matter how you're recording or on which device, soft filtered lighting like this is the key to a polished and professional look. Harsh lighting like this can create shadows and highlight imperfections, especially under the eyes and under the chin, which we definitely don't want. Instead, position your lights at eye level or slightly higher and about 4 feet from your face. This setup helps to illuminate your face evenly, giving you a more natural appearance on camera. Now let's talk about natural light. If you're recording during the day, take advantage of any windows in your space, but be strategic. If you have natural lighting in your space, make sure you are facing the windows and that they cast an even, not direct light into the room. You definitely don't want to record with the windows behind you because if you notice how it changes the lighting on my face and at different angles, you can actually see shadows and there's a little bit more of a focus on my imperfections. So let's avoid that. Also, whatever's going on outside behind you can be a little bit distracting to your viewers. So always position yourself facing the light source whenever possible. With your light sorted, let's move on to your recording space itself. Before you start recording, make sure your cameras are fully charged. Your SD cards should have enough space, and your microphones are connected to your computer or an audio interface like a Prod Track or a Procaster. There's lots of options out there. Trust me, there is nothing worse than getting halfway through a recording to realize something wasn't set up correctly. And here's a pro tip: always do a quick test recording. Spend 1 to 2 minutes recording a short clip, go upload it to your computer, and give it a listen. This simple step can save you from potential headaches later by catching any video or audio issues before you're in the middle of a full episode, especially if you have a high profile guest scheduled. Now that your setup is perfect and your environment is dialed in, let's talk about how to bring your best self to the camera. On camera confidence is key to delivering your message effectively. And I've got a few tips to help you look and feel your best. Let's start with posture. Whether you're sitting or standing, make sure you're upright but relaxed. Good posture not only conveys confidence, but it also helps with voice projection, making your delivery stronger and clearer. And here's a tip: treat the camera lens as if it's your best friend, making eye contact with the lens, not with the preview screen or a computer monitor. This creates a connection with your audience and makes them feel like you're speaking directly to them. Feeling a little nervous? That's totally normal. I recommend practicing some deep breathing before you start recording. It helps calm the nerves and ensures that your delivery is steady and confident. Next, let's talk about facial expressions and body language. Your face is one of the most powerful communication tools. Use it. A slight smile can make you appear more approachable and engaging, and expressive eyes can convey emotion and keep your audience hooked. Natural hand gestures are great for emphasizing points, but be mindful not to overdo it. Too much movement can be distracting. Pretend like your most supportive friend is inside the camera lens, cheering you on. Express yourself like you would if they were right there in the room with you. Now, let's revisit camera positioning and framing. We've already talked about your mouth being in the center of the frame to allow for proper headroom and focus. But also make sure your chair or your standing position is adjusted so that your eyes are right at camera level. If your camera is up too high, you end up speaking upward to the camera, which visually diminishes your authority. If your camera is too low, you end up speaking down to your audience, which could come off as demeaning or look like you're like wagging your finger at your audience, which isn't cool either. Positioning the camera at eye level allows your followers to feel level with you, which enhances engagement and makes your delivery feel more personal. When it comes to framing, consider opting for a closer shot where your face and upper body are clearly visible. This tighter frame makes it easier for viewers to connect with you. They can see your facial expressions and your gestures more clearly. Some additional advice I received from a body language expert is to allow your hands in the frame. As part of our natural evolution, we happen to trust someone more when we can see that they aren't holding anything dangerous. With your on camera presence polished and ready, you're almost ready to start recording. But before you hit that record button, let's go over some podcast best recording practices to ensure that your session goes smoothly and your content shines. First up, microphone etiquette. Did you know that was a thing? One thing to watch out for is your breath. It's easy to accidentally breathe into the mic, which can cause unwanted noise. Some people tend to be breathier than others, and if you're nervous, you might breathe hard naturally during an interview. Try to angle your breaths away from the microphone. Another handy tool is a windscreen. There are also pop filters that you can cover the microphone with so that when you say words with the air flowing through, like mostly consonants, P's and B's and T's, Those tools help prevent that poof of air during recording. The other thing is when you mess up, it's okay, mistakes happen. But instead of getting like frustrated and like visually expressing your frustration of your mistake, just take a deep breath, relax, try to position yourself similarly to where you just were before the mistake, and then start up a little bit in your script or go back in your brain just a little to rewind where you can repeat some of what you said. This way, your editor can find a good spot that overlaps, get a good cut where you're almost in the same position or making the same facial expression, and get a great cut right there, especially when we're talking about doing video. Now, if you're working from a script, here's a tip for keeping your delivery natural and engaging. It's easy to fall into the trap of reading a script in a monotone voice, but that's the fastest way to lose your audience. Instead, use facial expressions and let your voice reflect the excitement and passion you might feel for the content as if you were speaking it for the first time. A little bit of acting goes a long way in keeping your listeners engaged and your delivery authentic. With these best practices in mind, you're well on your way to a smooth recording session. But before we wrap up, it's important to talk about managing distractions and ensuring your environment is set up for success. First, let's talk about avoiding unwanted noises. Even the smallest sound can be distracting on a recording, so let's eliminate them before you even start. Wear clothing and jewelry that doesn't make brushing noises as you move, and jewelry that doesn't clink around and make a ton of jingling sounds. Avoid tapping on the desk or clicking a pen or making any other nervous movements that create a little bit of sound during your recording. And don't forget silence notifications on any devices in the room or that share the space with you while you're recording. Choose a chair that doesn't squeak when you move. Do anything you can to create a focused, quiet recording environment. Also, prepare your recording space by turning off fans or fountains, maybe even turn off the air conditioning or the heater. You want to make sure that your space is as free from interruptions or outside noises as possible. I know that mowing crews, the cleaning crew, construction next door, all of these things can pop up and be distracting. Just do your best to schedule around them. You may also have to put the cat in a room or put the dogs outside or do whatever it is that you can to assure that you won't be interrupted. The other piece is to make sure that your actual recording space is clutter free. A clutter free and visually appealing recording space isn't just a nice to have, it's essential for keeping your viewers focused on you and your message. Consider incorporating some greenery to add a touch of life to the frame, and make sure that whatever's in the background is relevant to your podcast's topic. This helps reinforce your brand and keeps the visual distractions to a minimum. With all these elements in place, you're set up for a smooth and successful recording session. You've got the tools, the setup, and the confidence to deliver great content. As we wrap up today's episode, let's quickly recap what we covered and look ahead to what's next. We talked about the essential equipment setup, making sure your microphones and cameras are positioned correctly for the best quality. We discussed recording techniques for different setups, whether you're flying solo or hosting guests. Then we moved to on-camera coaching, where we focused on appearing confident and engaging in front of the lens. And finally, we covered how to manage distractions and create a visually appealing recording environment. Remember, taking care and taking the time to prepare properly before hitting that record button is crucial for ensuring the best possible podcast quality. The more effort you put into your setup and your preparation up front, the more polished and professional your final product will be. Before I go, here are a few additional pre-recording steps to help you get ready. First, consider doing some vocal warm-ups before you start recording. This helps ensure your speech is clear and strong and gives you that extra bit of confidence. Also, stay hydrated and comfortable. Your vocal performance is directly impacted by how you're feeling physically. And finally, take a few minutes to relax and mentally prepare. A calm and focused mindset can make a huge difference in how you come across on camera. Next week is the last of this 5-episode mini-series, and we'll be talking about possibly the most important piece of podcasting for business, ROI. You're putting this time, money, and energy into delivering great content, structuring your episodes with clear call to actions, and learning all these best practices so you look and sound amazing on camera. It's important you see results from all this hard work. Stay tuned to learn how, where, when, and in what ways you may see ROI from using a podcast as the marketing arm of your business.